Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me live today on Mina Studio. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead. Subscribe. I got all kinds of videos like this. Although if you're here right now, you probably have subscribed because you got a notification we're live. And so thank you for subscribing. Today we're going to talk about free effects plugins, which I've come to love. I've become a plugin junkie. I don't know how it happened. Well, I know how it happened. I recorded a 25 song studio album in the last 3 months, so got super into plugins. So we're going to talk about free plugins because who doesn't love free plugins? And these are awesome. And in fact, Blazing Blackbeard, who has the coolest YouTube screen name ever, says, yes, I've been using these for years. Excellent set of free plugins. Yes, they are. Probably the best bundle of free plugins I've seen. There's some others that are really good too, but this one's just huge. It's 38 of them. They're free. They're all really good quality and surprisingly customizable. So if you are using something where you don't have the plugins you need, if you're using a DAW like GarageBand or Ableton or Studio One or something like that, you probably have all the plugins you need pretty much. They come with great plugins. But if you're using a simpler DAW, maybe like Audacity or OBS, if you're live streaming with OBS, sometimes you need plugins for that. This is a great option to get almost all of the plugins you're going to need. I personally, when I started using OBS, I was like, oh, I have all these plugins on my computer. I'll just use them in OBS. But I have a Mac, and all of my plugins from GarageBand and Logic were audio units, and OBS took VSTs. So I had to go find some free ones. I didn't actually find this one back then. I found this just recently. I wish I had found it back then because that would have been way easier. So if you're using OBS and you want to add things like reverb, or you need like a VU monitor, or you want to add a flanger for some reason, that'd be an interesting OBS session. If you need effects on OBS or anything that doesn't have effects and takes VST plugins, this is an awesome free bundle for that. Blazing Blackbeard says they've been perfect with voice meter and inserts for Cantabile VST host. Yep. Closet Hymnologist is here. Hey, man. What's going on? He's using them with OBS in his live stream. There we go. Proof right there. Closet Hymnologist. He uses them in OBS. That's what I'm talking about. REA plugins also, by the way. Good real-time noise reduction. I'll have to check those out. I haven't seen those. Oh, from Reaper. Oh, yeah, I heard Reaper's got good plugins. I don't think they're VST, though, are they? Aren't Reaper plugins some weird format? Maybe not. I don't know. Let me know. All right, so let's get into this. So this is the MFreeFXBundle. Let me switch. There we go. So this is what it looks like. This is their website. Ignore that $57. That's an upgrade price. Lets you do things like resize the plugins, which I almost paid so I could resize one of their meters, but I didn't. Lets you load your own presets and save your own presets. Those are the two big things. But the free bundle is like completely functional. So you click here, free download, and then it's got all of these plugins you'll see here. And today on our live stream, we're going to go through every single one of them. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on each one. Some of them I'll just mention and we won't do anything with because, well, you probably won't use them, or I don't know how to use some of them. So shh, don't tell anybody. Blackbeard says Reapers are VST. Cool. I'll check that out too. I'm probably going to have a bunch of these on the free plugins because producing this album, I've discovered so many plugins. All right, so you can go download it from there. The free FX bundle, they have it for Mac or Windows. The Mac ones I'm using are audio units because I have to in Logic, but you can also download VSTs as well. So let's get into it. I'm going to minimize this. It's the Melda. Let me bring that up actually. Oh, now I've lost it on one of my mini screens. Where'd it go? It's gone forever. Melda free bundle. There we go. MFreeFXBundle from Melda Production. So you can go to their website and download it for free right there. Let's get straight into the effects. Here we go. Now I can get rid of that safely. All right, I have a Logic session open here. I loaded up one of the vocals from my Christmas album coming up, the go tell it on the mountain vocal track, just so we have something to hear the effects on. Got to put on my headphones so I can hear what's going on. All right. And again, as I'm going through this, I probably just started talking way louder. I can't hear anything. As I'm going through these, if you have any questions or comments or anything, let me know. Blazing Blackbeard says, do the pitch shifter. Okay. Oh, I will. I'm doing all of them. Are you talking about the auto pitch one? I've been using that a lot. Not for auto pitching, though. Interesting. All right. So let's go through. So in your DAW or OBS or whatever, find where your plugin's on. If you're in a DAW, it will just, well, you should hopefully know how to add plugins to your channel strip. If not, there's plenty of videos on that. If you're in OBS, you click on that little settings thing next to the audio source and filters, and then you can add VST plugins from there. Blackbeard's cracking me up. I want to hear you sound like Beelzebub. I don't want to hear me sound like Beelzebub. Okay, so we're gonna go into it. So here in Logic, I go down to my audio units and Melda Productions. Here it is, and you can see here is our list of all the Melda production plugins that came with the free bundle. So again, I'm just gonna go through them real quick. Some I'll spend time on, some I won't. We'll start with the first one, the MAGC. And this is, I have my little cheat sheet here from Melda, because I don't even know what some of these are. A simple but powerful utility that lets you adjust the loudness to match the side chain. So you're probably not going to use that in OBS. It's basically what it sounds like. I haven't used it yet, but it sounds like an auto gain that automatically adjusts based on whatever you side chain into it. And if you don't know what any of that stuff means, don't worry about it. That's for studio recording and stuff. You're probably not going to use side chains and such in OBS, but it seems like it's probably an auto gain with a side chain, which could be very useful in very specific situations. All right, next up, Analyzer. Here's one of them I've used the most. You can see why I almost bought it to resize it. See, watch if I click it. Oh, I gotta do that. Yeah. So I'd like this one to be bigger. That's what you have to pay for. So this is basically just a, what's the word I'm looking for? Spectrograph. So if I play this, that Jesus Christ is born, you'll see it shows what the frequencies are. While shepherds kept their watching, and your loudness over here on the side. Silent flocks by night. So it's just a really useful spectrograph. Am I using the right word? I think I am. Somebody correct me if I'm not. Filter root keys. Yeah, format pitch shift is what I have used on that Blackbeard. Sorry, we're having a whole separate conversation over here in the live chat. If you're watching, go in the live chat and chat with us as well. All right, so that's what the analyzer is. Averaging and smoothness. None of this affects your sound in this plugin. This is average and smooth. This is just how it shows you how quickly or how many frequencies you can see. Another crazy thing about all of these that I'll show you with this is if you go to settings, there are tons of settings on all of these plugins, way more than you usually see on free plugins. There's tablet mode and all kinds of stuff. And this is weird but fun but crazy is they include styles, and I can do random style, and you can do different styles on your plugins, which completely useless as far as sound is concerned, but really cool and fun, because this is something I found out and seems weird, but a better looking plugin actually kind of keeps you creative, because at least me, I'm like an aesthetic person, and like I'm working, and if the plugin looks good and it's got all these knobs that look real and good graphs and stuff, then I'm more into like tweaking it and stuff. But if it's really hard to understand and really ugly, like a Windows 95 plugin, sometimes you get like, it just takes you out of the moment. So that might be shallow. I don't know, but that's what happens to me. But yeah, you can choose all these different styles, which is really fun. All right. So that is the analyzer. Again, just helps you see what's going on with your music. I used that a lot when I was mastering my album to see what all the frequencies were doing. Next up, we have Auto Pan. This is an automatic panner, and I don't really know when you would use this. I know some people use them on like organs. I mean, kind of a rotary organ is kind of a similar idea, but I don't think I'll ever use this, but if you have use for it, you have use for it. So this is an auto pan. It just, like when you hear noises going back and forth automatically in different ears. That was a terrible way to explain it. But you know what I'm talking about. Like a rotary organ sound. So that's an auto pan. Blackbird says it's helpful if you have a dark mode on your desktop like all of mine are. Yeah. I do have dark mode on this. In fact, I think I'm in dark mode. I think. I'm not sure. So that's the auto pan. Oops. Next up, auto pitch. So this is the one Blackbeard's been talking about. This is cool because pitch correcting softwares can be very expensive. Logic and GarageBand come. Does GarageBand come with that? I don't know if GarageBand does, but Logic comes with their own. There's also a free one called Gorillon that I've used. It's pretty good. But other than that, this is really. I keep trying to resize. See, this is why you upgrade. So this is an auto pitch. I'll just show you what it does on my vocals here. Oops. Behold, throughout the heavens, there's shone a holy light. So that wasn't a super intense effect, but if I go all the way, so depth 100%, speed, I think 100% is probably what I want. Let's try that. Then we'll keep it major. Go tell it on the mountain, like T-Pain. Over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain. So that's auto tune. You can certainly use it like that, like in pop music, they full out auto tune. But you can also use it subtly, just on your own vocals. I found this one doesn't do subtle as well as some of the other ones, so might not be great for live or anything like that. And then also on here, you can detune your vocals if you want to do something like that. You also have effects where you have width, and then format shifts is what Blackbeard's talking about. Format shifts are fun. That is not changing the pitch of what you're singing, but changing the pitch of your formants or your overtones so that you sound not like yourself. So I'll show you what it is here. That Jesus Christ is born. Let me turn down some of this. So here's the Beelzebub he was talking about. The shepherds fear and tremble. So, okay. See, it's still the same notes, but like a demon is singing them. Or you can go the other way if you want to be a pixie. Or in this case, a demon leprechaun, I think, is what that sounds like. Go tell it on the mountain. That's creepy. Over the hills and everywhere. So I'll release a remix of this song with that. How about that? On the mountain, that Jesus Christ is born. So you can do that if you really, really want to. You shouldn't, probably, unless you're doing something crazy. But so you can mess with the formats too. But you can also just use this as a auto tune, either intense effect like pop music, like T-Pain, or just a simple auto tune. And it lets you select the key, major, minor, or chromatic, and you can select what key you're singing in. Really useful, really nice for a free auto tune plugin. Yeah, that was. I thought the high one would sound like a fairy or something, but no, it was like a evil thing that lives under your porch or something. Now I'm creeping myself out with my own voice. I should stop watching Supernatural, probably. Okay, so that's the auto pitch. Next up, we got the BandPass. What's the BandPass? Oh, that's just high and low pass filters. This is high pass and low pass filters, which is a very useful tool for a lot of things, even in OBS and stuff. High pass and low pass are just basically cutoffs at a certain frequency, either low or high, so you can't hear anything past that. So if you have a low rumble going on in the background while you're live streaming, try high pass filter, low cut filter. I always get cut and pass backwards. And if there's like a high pitched noise, maybe like lights squealing or something, you can go the other way with the low pass or the high cut. So that's what those are. They're typically used when things go wrong. But things always go wrong when recording. So that's the high pass filter. Those are the band passes. Next up, we have BitFun. So BitFun is a crazy distortion. Yeah, I did sound Gollum. That's what I sounded like. Oh man, You're right, George. My precious. That's what that was. Oh, that's just creepy. Okay. All right. So, what am I on? I'm getting distracted here. Oh, this is the BitFun. This is a crazy distortion. And I'm going to turn this down so I don't kill you in case it's really loud. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, so that's a bit crushed column. So that's that bit distortion. It's not like a guitar distortion. It's almost like a broken speaker or a broken digital converter or something. It's kind of replicating that idea. That you wouldn't use on vocals like I just did. Well, I guess you could for your bit crushed golem. But typically you'd use that on other things, maybe like guitars, bass, synths. You might use that a lot, or if you're making some 8-bit or bit crushed music. So next up, MC generator. So this one is one that I have no idea what it's for, to be honest with you. So it produces 8 MIDI CC values from its own parameters. So CC values are just what MIDI uses to know what's what, basically. But I don't really understand what it means. I haven't played with it, and I don't really know what it does. I think it just helps you control what MIDI goes to where. If anybody knows what those actually are, let me know. I'm not super sure what that does, but I bet if you need this, you know what it is. So that's the CC generator. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I know everything, guys. Because channel. That would be really bad. This is a channel matrix. Oh, not channel matrix. Charm Verb was what I think. Channel matrix. This is another one that I'm not really sure what it's for. It lets you mix and reroute the channels from both inputs. I guess it's just a router for your 2 inputs. I'm not really sure what the point of that is, that you couldn't do with just your DAW and routing and buses and stuff, but I don't know. Not sure. But again, if you need it, you need it. All right, now to one of my favorites of the pack, the Charm Verb. So this is a reverb, and this is an algorithmic reverb as opposed to a convolution reverb, which they have in the pack as well. So algorithmic reverb is kind of your basic, I don't want to say fake reverb. They're all fake reverbs. They're all built in the computer. But this isn't really trying to replicate something exactly. This is just providing a reverb, whereas convolution reverbs are trying to imitate something like a hall or a room or a church or whatever. So this Charm Verb is really good, and it's one of the best free reverbs I've come along. So I'll let you hear it on my voice, and I'll play with the parameters a bit. Down in a lowly manger, the humble Christ was born, and God sent us salvation that blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Pretty good reverb in my opinion. Really good for just a basic algorithmic reverb. Yep, convolutions use impulse files generated at the source, so that they're imitating real areas with impulse files. Algorithmics do not do that. They're just providing you with a base reverb that you can adjust the parameters of. That's a lot that you probably don't need to know. All right, so that is Charm Verb. I really like that. I've actually used that a couple times on the Christmas album. Most of my reverb was done in Space Designer, but a couple of them were done with that. So that's the Charm Verb, one of my favorites in the pack. Next up, this is a comb filter. This is something I hear about all the time and I have no idea what they do. I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of utilities in this. I don't know what they do. What in the world is a comb filter? Blackbeard, you seem to know a lot. What's a comb filter? Let me know if you know. Or Closet. Let me know. Let's put it on to see what happens. Oh, that's not good. Okay. So that's not good for vocals, but I hear them on synths all the time. Yeah, it sounds like something you'd use on a lead synth. So you got a comb filter in there. I'm never going to use that probably, but I know they're popular plugins for techno and that sort of music. Next up, another favorite, the compressor. Everybody needs a compressor. Compressor, reverb, EQ. Those are the three big ones. So it's a pretty... see, I keep trying to resize. Oh my gosh. I'm going to do it so many times. So it's a real basic compressor, but it works really well. It's very similar to Logic's built-in stock compressor, which I really love. The only difference is this doesn't have like imitations of like different types of old analog and digital compressors. But really good compressor. Let's see, what do I have things set on here? Down in a lowly manger. You can't hear a lot when you adjust these, but it's because it's a compressor. There's my threshold. And God sent us well, super squash it. The blessed Christmas morn. Can't even tell that much on this vocal track anyway. Go tell it on the mountain. So it's got everything you need in a compressor. It works well. It seems pretty transparent in my opinion. So if you just need a basic compressor, really, really, really good. Closet hymnologist. I've just been using Convolution. Yeah, I use Convolution usually too, but sometimes algorithms are fun to play with. Blackbeard, it combs out certain spot frequencies. Okay. So it's like a really crazy EQ. Comb filter is how you get breakfast out of your beard. Thank you. No, you guys are cracking me up today in the live chat. Okay. Okay, I'm not even going to read some of that. All right, here we go. Next up, we got Convolution. That's what we've been talking about, the Convolution Reverb. So you can see here it's got all these presets for you. Well, they're impulse responses, but you can just think of them as presets. So you got halls here that you can use. These are early reflections. Here's church. Well, they don't have any churches on here, but chambers, box, plate, reverbs, rhythmic, all kinds of stuff. You don't really need to know what all of those things are if you just want to play around with it. Just think of them as all of different reverb sounds imitating different things. So they're really good. I'll try one of them on here. Probably a little much. Big vocal hall. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. I mean, they sound really good. Tell it on the mountain. Like really good for a free reverb, but like ridiculously good for a free reverb. So Convolution easy. I mean, it's I still use Space Designer from Logic, but if I didn't have Space Designer and just had this, I don't think I'd be losing a whole lot. That Jesus Christ is born. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yes, you can record your own impulse files too if you want to use your own spaces. I've never done that, never had a need to do that, but I guess if you found a church you love the sound of, you could record an impulse file. But that's a super advanced reverb technique that we're not going to get into today. All right, so that's the Convolution Reverb. Amazing reverb for free. Next up, the second or third of the big three, Compressor, Reverb, and Equalizer, is the Equalizer. So this is their Equalizer. It is really good. All of these are really good. I'm going to say that a lot. But it's a not a band, not like a 31 band equalizer, but a visual. What do you call these kind of equalizers? I don't remember the name of them, but you know, the more visual. So it's got all these different frequency notches you can use. Double click on it to activate it, and then drag it up or down, and then these little things on the side are your I'm losing all my words today. I know all these words, I just can't think of them. Your Q shape, your Q sweep, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. How big it is. There you go. So it's really good. Again, it would be super useful to be able to resize this. When I was using Neutron's Equalizer on my album, and I had the thing taking up the whole screen so I could get real detailed with my EQ. But Yeah, I mean, it works really well. I mean, you know what EQ does, but I'll play it just so you can hear. Tell it on the mountain. Oh, and it has an analyzer on it, which is fantastic. Or it has your frequency graph on it, which I love on equalizers. It just makes it so much easier to know what's going on in your audio. Over the hills and everywhere go, tell it on the mountain. You know what an equalizer does, but this is a really good one. Really good equalizer. Parametric. Thank you. I think that's the word I was going for. That's what I was going for. Whew. My brain is not working. All right. Up next, flanger. And again, the big three you're going to need always are, at least for music, are reverb, EQ, and compressor. For talking, you don't really need EQ. I mean, reverb. See, my brain's not working. But reverb, EQ, and compressor. And all three of those in this are fantastic. So if you just need those three, this pack's perfect for that too. I'm not being sponsored or anything. This is free. I just love free stuff. They ain't paying me none. All right. Here we have a flanger. I don't know how to describe a flanger. It's a flanger. If you're a guitar player, you know exactly what it is. It flanges the sound. It modulates the sound. It's a flanger. I can't describe it. But I have not tried out this flanger, so I cannot speak to how good it is or not. But judging by the rest, I'm sure it's pretty decent. I guess we could try it on my voice. Why not? Over the hill. I have an acoustic guitar track here, too. We could throw it on. Not really meant for acoustic, but let's bump it up. It's a flanger. You guys are cracking me up. Okay. Next up, freeform phase. We're almost halfway through. I know it's a big pack, right? But I want to show all of these. All right. So where are we at? Oh, freeform phase. This says it's a powerful utility that lets you adjust the phase of individual frequencies however you like. Again, I've not used this, but if you're having phase issues, this could certainly be a problem. I guess you could also use this creatively. I've never used a phase adjuster creatively, but if you have phase issues, this could be really good because it lets you adjust the phase of specific frequencies, which is really cool. And phase is how the waveforms of two files fit together. So like if you record a stereo guitar, sometimes you can have problems with phasing because the mics are very similar waveforms. But if, say, they're at a weird distance from each other or whatnot, you can get phasing, which is basically like frequencies being out of line and canceling each other out, and you get like dead spots and pops and, well, not pops, but anyways, out of phase is not good. And you could probably hear it if you had something really out of phase, although technically if you had it really out of phase, it would be silent. But that's not the point. All right, so that's a phase adjuster. Again, another, oh, my camera stopped. Thank you, Blackbeard. I assume you can still hear me. I don't know why my camera stopped. Let's see if it comes back on here. Thank you, Blackbeard. I did not notice that. Okay, camera. Hello, camera. I'll get this. Just a second. This is what happens when you do live things. This, by the way, is the Cam Link 4K, which just drives me crazy sometimes. Yeah, I'm still frozen there. Alright, 1920, 57. Should be working. I don't know why it's not working. Beelzebub took my camera. That was rude. I'll tell you what. Should be coming back up here. Alright, video capture. Yes, I've tried turning it back off and off again. Oh, you're an IT crowd fan too, I see. Okay. Well, apparently that camera's not coming back. That's okay. You can still see my screen, right? I'll figure that out in a bit. All right, so next up, we have, I'll keep trying to turn the camera back off and on as we go through. Next up, we have we have a frequency shifter. Frequency shifter. So you can do stereo expansion or just, well, I'll just show you. That'll be easiest. Behold throughout the heaven. So you might need headphones or something to hear this because it's doing things in stereo. So laptop or phone speakers won't quite work for this. You can change the width. You can shift
tell it on the mountain,
frequencies.
Over the hills and everywhere.
Oh, I thought that wasn't doing anything. I have them. There we go. I was like, that's not doing anything. Here we go. Now I need to put it on the right channel. There you go.
Tell it on the...
There we go.
Jesus Christ is born.
Now we're back to Demon Leprechaun again.
The shepherd's feet and true.
This one's even creepier. Oh, jeez. Oh. It sounds terrifying. I hope I've thoroughly ruined Go Tell It on the Mountain for all of you at this point. Okay. So that's a frequency shifter. That's what's going on there. You'll excuse me a second. I'm replugging in my camera. Maybe I need to do it replugged in. Okay, next up we have loudness analyzer. Another one I used quite a bit. Loudness analyzer is exactly what it sounds like. It's a loudness analyzer. This one shows you peaks and momentary and short term. I believe it's in LUFS. Yeah, it's in LUFS, which is kind of a standard measure of loudness.
Tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
Yeah, I don't know what Closet Hymnologist says. What possible use could the frequency shifter effect have? I don't know. I bet you could get some cool like guitar synthy sounds with it if you really wanted to play around. Or obviously for the Demon Leprechaun remix of Go Tell It on the Mountain. But other than that, I'm not super sure. Yep, so loudness meter. This is, again, helpful if you're mastering. I love that it has this chart over here. That's very, very helpful.
Blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain.
So that is super helpful. Sorry, I'm replugging in my camera again. All right, next up, we have, hey, look, there's me. Apparently I had to replug it into my computer. That's what's going on. So next up, metronome. Self-explanatory, but really cool. It comes with one of these. I don't need to explain what a metronome is. You can adjust the BPMs and time signature, and you got a metronome. Most DAWs come with it, so you don't really need it in DAWs, and you're not going to use it in OBS. So I'm not really sure how useful it is to most people, since they probably already have one, but it's there. All right, next up, we have noise generator. This is exactly what it sounds like. It generates noise, white noise, pink noise, and such. I don't really get this, but there's some people out there who say if you add white noise or pink noise to your music, it like secretly sounds better and makes your vocals sound better. I think that's probably nonsense, but some people say it, so, you know, it's the internet. It's probably true. Oh, so sorry about that. Okay, so that's what that one does. Sorry. So there's the noise generator. I did not mean to do that. I'm not going to show you any more of that one. It generates noise like that. You can turn it down, obviously. So if you need white noise or pink noise or whatnot, you got a noise generator. Very sorry if you had headphones on. We're getting close. Again, there's a lot of utilities on here that may not be super necessary, but the effects that are on here are great quality, and some of the utilities could be helpful. This is a notepad, which at first I was like, oh, that's a filler one. Come on, you could have just said 37. I don't need notepad, but I actually used it. So it's, if you want to put notes on a specific track, like here's on my vocal track, like you sound terrible. Like you could do that. You shouldn't do that to yourself, but you could write notes and it'd be attached to that specific track. So you could have notes on every track, or if you were like sending it to somebody else, you could add notes on there as well. So it actually can be helpful. So that's the notepad. I know. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Sorry. Everybody in the live chat's freaking out because of my noise thing. I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. I just want to make sure everybody was awake while they were watching. If you just joined us, I just scared everybody half to death with the noise generator. Yeah, I know they say it covers noise floors of preamps, but how does adding noise help noise? You know? Like, oh, my house is an ugly yellow, so I'm going to paint it an even worse pink. Like, I'm not sure that it helps a lot. But what do I know? I'm not a professional recording engineer. All right. So, next up, we have oscillator. Sorry, I did it again. So, this provides oscillator tones like sort of that synths produce. This is a simple oscillator, as you just heard. I'll turn it down, and you'll hear it. Yeah. Generates tones like such. All right, let me turn it back up. There we go. I know there's a lot. There's 38. There's a lot. I'm going through all of them, though. Figure it'd take about an hour. We'll probably get there. Oscilloscope. Another way to view your music.
That Jesus Christ is born. Go tell it on the mountain.
Like such, you've always seen those old-timey, like big oscillator boxes that have like the, you know, like they're talking to aliens. You see that little screen. Got an oscillator. I haven't used that one. I just used the other meters. I don't know why you would really use an oscillator over other meters. Blazing Blackbeard might know. Glad I have an actual expert in the live check. He can help me because I'm not an actual expert. I just pretend to be. We have a phaser. Yeah, the noise works with the psychoacoustics. Yeah. Sure. All right, what did I just open? Oh, this is a phaser. Again, can't really explain a phaser. It's like a flanger. It phases. That's what it does. It modulates the sound in a certain way.
Over the hills and everywhere.
Most typically used as an electric guitar effect or a synth effect.
Go tell it on the mountain.
Although maybe if I add this with the pitch shifter, we can get a really crazy voice sound.
That Jesus Christ is born.
Should probably just do that right now, just for, you know, why not? Let's use that frequency shifter. Yeah, it should be good.
On the mountain, that Jesus Christ is born.
Yep. I hear backing vocals. Perfect. All right. Good quality. I did play with the phaser on some tracks. I didn't really use it on anything, but seemed like pretty decent quality phaser. This ratio is a crossfader of some kind. Again, I'm not super sure what the point of it is outside of what your DAW does. I guess unless your DAW does not do these sorts of crossfades, but let's see. It says powerful crossfader. Oh, sorry. A simple utility lets you crossfade between main input and sidechain. Oh, and the sidechain. I don't know why you would do that, but it's there. Again, some of these I know a lot of people won't ever use, but Ratio MB is just a more advanced version of Ratio with the crossfading between sidechain and whatnot. That would be some really advanced audio editing. Not saying you wouldn't use it, but you would have to know you needed it before you knew what to do with it, really. Recorder. It comes with a recorder, which is interesting. I haven't used it because it's in a DAW, so I'm not using it. But see the Closet Hymnologist, he's got to run. Thanks for joining me, man. It's been fun. All right, so we got a recorder. This is exactly what it sounds like. It can here. I'll do it right now. Record. Oh, okay. Gotta get my path. Whoops. Ah. I don't want to type in a path. Sure. Okay. Now let's try it.
Go.
Target file name. I don't want to type in all this stuff. Anyways, you'd see it. You just record. You can record whatever's playing through. Or if you have a mic set up, you can record the actual mic. In a DAW, it's fairly useless since you're literally recording stuff in the DAW. But I guess if you're using like OBS and want to add some sort of voice note or something, I don't know what you'd use it for, but that's not my job to figure out what you'd use it for. I'm just telling you it's there. So that's a recorder. Records WAV files. Ring modulator.
Tallied on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere.
That's even better than the pitch shifter.
Go, tallied on.
That's really Beelzebubby. Is that? I just made that adjective up. Beelzebubby. All right. So there's your ring modulator. That does what that does. It's to modulate sounds and mess with the overtones and such, just like that. All right. Next up, we have a saturator. People love. It did sound like a Dalek. You like Doctor Who too? Who are you? Blazing Blackbird. We gotta be friends, man. Yes, Dalek. Oh, that did sound like a Dalek. By the way, totally unrelated, just so everybody knows, I just got a new car that's small and blue and it's bigger on the inside. So obviously I nicknamed it the TARDIS, and I just ordered a TARDIS sticker on Amazon to put on it. Totally unrelated. All right, so this is a saturator. Some people live and die by saturators. I don't really care about them very much. I use them occasionally, but basically what a saturator is it's a very low-level distortion. It's kind of emulating, it's almost like a tape emulation. It's kind of emulating what your vocals would, or not vocals, what your audio would sound like on a natural tape or a natural audio source. Adds a little bit of distortion, or if you crank it all the way up, adds a lot of distortion. A lot of people use this to bring things forward and to add texture and character to things. I used it on some of the vocals, but I didn't find it added a whole lot, so I don't use them a whole lot. But some people love saturators. This one's decent. It's not my favorite, but it's decent. Definitely good for a free one, but all this stuff is, so. Oh, we're getting near the end. Spectropan. What's Spectropan? Let you apply panorama. What? So they say a unique plugin which lets you apply a panorama to each frequency individual. I don't know what a panorama is in audio editing. What? I don't know. Let's draw some in there, see what happens.
Time that Jesus Christ is born.
Oh, what is that? It's doing something.
Over the hills and everywhere go, tallied on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
I don't really know what that's doing. Seems like some sort of spectral editing EQ, something. Kind of interesting sounds. I bet you could play with that and get some interesting sounds. Interesting. So that's a spectral pan. I guess maybe it's panning certain overtones and frequencies and formats. I don't know. Kind of interesting sound.
Go tallied on the mount.
Yeah, it seems like it's panning different overtones. That's cool. I think that's what it's doing. Not sure. If you stuck around for this for the whole time, thank you so much. We're marathoning it. We're almost there. Thanks for hanging out with me. All right, so number 30 maybe, what we're on, stereo expander. This does exactly what it sounds like it does. It stereo expands.
Over the hills and everywhere go, tallied on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
So it's typically the thing you'd use.
Go tallied on the mountain.
I don't know if the way I have this set up you can actually hear what's going on there, but it's expanding or narrowing the stereo field. Not by a lot, but it's there. Typically you would use that if you didn't record something in stereo and you wanted to try to get it to sound like stereo, or the opposite, something was sounding too far apart and you wanted to bring it back together. RSS emulator Ronald sound space. Metals and gold size for everything. Yes. Yes. 38. Almost through. And again, I know everybody's not going to need everything on here, but I just want to go through everything in case, you know, you needed a free plugin and you wanted to see if this is what you needed. And also just go download it and play with it. It's free and they're plugins and they're fun. This is a Stereoscope. Lets you see what's happening in your stereo image.
Mountain, over the hills and
Although this isn't. Why isn't this showing me my stereo image?
everywhere go, tell it on the mountain.
I don't know why it's not showing me
that Jesus Christ is born.
Let's try it on the guitar. Oh, I still have a frequency shifter on the guitar. That sounds cool. Alright. Stereoscope. There we go. I guess the other one was completely mono. So there's a stereoscope showing you what's going on. This track's really stereo. Again, just another way to meter your sound and make sure it's doing what you want it to do. The best way to do that is to listen, but sometimes your ears trick you. So, tremolo. We have a tremolo. Roland. Oh, I thought you said Ronald. Yes, Roland. I know Roland. I have a Roland E-drum kit. I thought you said Ronald. I like Ronald sound space. I'm going to give me a plug on Ronald sound space. It's the shape of a stegosaurus. Roland. That makes more sense. All right. What open? Tremolo. Tremolo. Again, like a phaser and a flanger, it's a tremolo. It's guitar effect commonly used on guitars, or probably not synths. Sometimes you'll hear tremolo a lot on Rhodes pianos, electric pianos. A tremolo is kind of just that. It's that. That's what a tremolo is. That's the sound. See? I think it's just basically an auto pan, really, is what a tremolo is, I think. It's kind of trippy on this guitar.
Go, tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
Volume and panning, I think. All right, there's a tremolo. It's a good tremolo if you need it. Probably not on vocals, but on guitar or maybe piano or electric piano. Tuner. Are you saying the RS Soundspace processor is a... I'm not sure what you're talking about. Is that the... What was that in reference to? Sorry. I'm in the live chat there. Next up, a tuner. That's a tuner. It tunes
Down in a lowly manger.
for guitar or bass or whatever. Very helpful. I use the built-in tuner in Logic and GarageBand every time I'm recording. So if you don't have one of those, this is really helpful to have a tuner in your DAW.
Christ was born.
We won't look at how out of tune my vocals are there. All right, next up. Utility. No idea what this is. Volume, panorama, phase inversion, stereo swapping, a DC blocker, delay, RMS, and envelope. That seems like too many things on a plugin. It's got delay on a utility plugin? Okay, sure. Panorama input, panorama left, math, RMS, envelope. Interesting. So apparently that's just all the other stuff that didn't make it in other plugins. I don't know. Because there isn't a delay plugin on this, which is one of the big missing pieces to this is a delay, which is another very popular and important plugin. So there isn't a delay in this, but most other things. Next up, we have a vibrato. Very similar to a tremolo.
And God sent us
But instead of panning and volume, it's pitch. Pitch.
salvation.
You know what vibrato is singing. Oh, you go up, yeah.
The blessed Christmas morn. Go.
Yeah. Not going to use it for vocals, but might use it for synths or some other effects. All right. Second to last, we have the Wave folder. I gotta look at what these are. I'm not sure. Analog inspired distortion. Oh, this is distortion. Mild harmonic to complete. Oh, cool. I haven't used this yet, but I'm gonna turn it down just in case it's really loud.
Over the hills and everywhere go. On the mountain, Jesus Christ is born.
So you could get a decent like guitar distortion with that if you wanted to. I wouldn't pick it as your first guitar distortion, but if you wanted to use it on maybe a synth to drive it a little bit, or maybe add some distortion to an electric piano, it could definitely be used for that. It's more, those wave distortions are more built for customization of exactly what you want distorted. So, all right, we made it to the final one, Wave Shaper. So, don't really know what this does either.
Go tell it on the mountain.
If you know, let me know.
Over the hills and everywhere.
So I guess it's just like an EQ, but in a wave shape, I guess. Kind of like a curves for photo editing.
Go tell it on the mountain.
Sorry, I really don't know. Other than that, it sounds like an EQ wave. I'm not sure. If you know, let me know. He says replugs have delays. I gotta try the replugs apparently. Maybe that'll be my next live stream. All right, there we go. That's all of the Melda Pack plugins. So I know there are a lot of things in there that you may never use. Some of it might be filler. I don't know. Most of them have a use. They're just not always going to use them. But there are some great ones that you use a lot. The ones that I've used the most are the Equalizer, which is just that spectrograph to monitor your stuff. I didn't use the auto pitch much, but you might need an auto pitch. The Charm Verb is a great reverb. Compressor is a really good basic compressor. Convolution Reverb, another great reverb. The Equalizer, it's really good if you don't have one. If you have Logic or GarageBand, their Equalizer will do the same thing. But if you need an Equalizer for something else, that was great. What else do I use a lot? I didn't use the saturator, but a lot of people might use that a lot. And then the tuner, I didn't use because I had a tuner in Logic, but if you don't have a tuner, that one's really important. So there's some really good ones in there. And it's got your big three, your reverb, your EQ, and your compression. Only big thing missing, I would say, would be a delay, but I guess I can't complain about 38 free plugins. So there it is. That's the Melda free pack. Thank you so much for the peanut gallery in the live chat. It was awesome. Closet Hymnologist Adam and Blazing Blackbeard and George was in there a bit. Thanks a lot, guys. That was fun. And Blazing Blackbeard, you have to join me on every plugin live stream or video so I can ask you questions when I don't know what something is. That worked out well. All right. So that's the free plugins. Hope it was helpful. Again, if you got your OBS or something that doesn't have plugins, great way to get free plugins and totally free. That's all there's for today. We made it through all 38 plugins about an hour. That's what I was figuring. So thanks everybody for joining, and I will